It is February the 25th, 2016. I'm Dana Durnford, your host, the nuclearproctologist.org, and we are the #1 provider of reliable Fukushima documentation, pictures, peer-reviewed studies, and that we are not armchair activists. We have done 260 days on the coastline of British Columbia, up to 5 months without coming home in a little dinky, where we took hundreds of thousands of pictures and oodles of underwater footage of the coastline of British Columbia. And so we stand proud and tall above all the rest, and we hope to be a model for everyone out there that is looking at this. And we'll come over and say it tonight and just say hi to everybody. Dana, smurf that up. We'll get rid of that. Hang on. Wrong one. That's how the night rolls. We kind of do that sometimes. Don't look like I set this up very well, so let's keep going. We'll come over and kill the Adobe and say hi to everybody. I got 10 days in bed. And so just because I'm here tonight don't mean I'm all better. It just means that I'm here tonight. Hi, Corey, and Pam, and Shawnee Kent, and Terry Ann, and Kate, and Oomph, and Elaine, of course. Bless you, sweetie. Thank you for everything you've done, and everybody else included. And Candace, Nep Killer, when are you going to move, Dana? I can't go anywhere. Hi, Albert. I have to go to court. I have restrictions. I have to visit a probation officer all the time. I'm under attack constantly. I'm not allowed to do anything without permission from the system. I was arrested. I was jailed. I was vilified in the media and accused of death threats and demonized every day. The PR firm is very powerful. It has embedded itself into our chat room and into the hounds and everywhere else. That beautiful girl by Dana, and that they are desperate to take over the narrative. We had we're going to cover a lot of really important stuff tonight, if I can hold out. The Daily Star in UK contacted me, said I'm a journalist at the Daily Star in the UK, and I'm writing a piece on the possibility that the blast was a hoax before its anniversary. What? Wait, what? Would you be able to speak about the main points that prove it was a hoax? Does she even know who she's talking to? So of course I wrote her back, someone should stick a baseball bat up your ass and call you a fudge stick. It would make much more sense than your message. That fucking hurts. She says, haha, okay. I'm a journalist for a paper in the UK. I wanted to interview you because I'm writing a story about Fukushima nuclear reactor meltdown. And some people believe it didn't even happen. I wanted to ask you what you think the Japanese government is covering up and whether allegations that never happened is just quackery or legit. You're quackery. I said, I don't trust you. No one should trust you. Everyone knows you're scum. All anyone needs to do is read your paper and realize you're scum. You have a history of being scum, traitors, manipulators, deceiving and hurting people for a headline. I don't know, did I kind of go too overboard? Oh, it fucking hurts. Excuse me while I choke out today. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Just tough out, Dina. But anyway, I thought everybody would enjoy that one. Let's get on to some stuff here. We got the West Coast was hit by 220 million atoms. 220 million per liter. Excuse me. I'm gonna choke out here. Calls for a job for Robitussin. I'm only drinking that so I can do this tonight. Yep. That's a fake hiccup. Probably get a real bunch now. Everybody says, stop faking hiccups, Dana. West Coast was hit. Okay, so a nuclear power plant, the evacuation zone is 55 of those 220 million. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55 is considered an evacuation zone. So what the frig is 220 million? This is iodine-129 with a 15 million year half-life, never going away. Does rain fall by the liter? No. They measured it by the liter, even though normally they would measure it in cubic meters, which is 1,000 liters. And so for this time I can say I'm glad they didn't, because I don't know if I can pronounce those numbers anyway. Detected in the aquifers, this is British Columbia, this is Canada, this is America. But this is University of Ottawa. Now, of course, you know, I was arrested and vilified and demonized in the media saying that this never happened. But here's Ottawa, scientists from the University of Ottawa saying way worse than anything I have ever said. They're saying 220 million becquerels. You don't just die from radiation, even though that kind of numbers might kill people, and probably did here in British Columbia. It killed children, we know that. We got the studies on a spike of abnormalities and death of children and adults just after Fukushima compared to every other year for that time frame. Massive spike of tens of thousands of people dying. That's because when you absorb 3 liters of water when you're getting a bath or a shower, your hot tub has 1,000 times whatever that is in it. And your hot tub's generally like a cubic meter. This is not tenable. This is not sustainable to keep this lie alive. But this is British Columbia. This is the admittance that British Columbia is destroyed permanently, forever, till the end of time. Iodine-129. So let's go over and talk about some of that stuff for 1 second. And April the 16th forecast showed radioactive clouds stretching from Texas to Canada. Right? And that was 220 million becquerels. 220 million becquerels when 55 becquerels is an evacuation zone. We are being murdered. We are being murdered. Hot particles bombarded the west coast of U.S., Canada, and contaminated farms and food sources in the U.S. Radioactive debris island, twice the size of Texas, is crossing the Pacific. So rain with 20 million particles of radioactive iodine-131 per liter. 131. 131. And so there's 10 times more 132. 30 times more iodine-133 with that. 30 times more iodine-133. And 31 times more iodine-129. That's what you're looking at right there, right? Iodine-129. Let's keep going. And so 20 million particles of radioactive iodine per liter. Per liter. 55 becquerels is an evacuation zone. And so the system is desperate. They don't even know what they're doing. Alaska seals concentrated where the Fukushima radioactive plume made a landfall. The sickness is all over. 40 million becquerels of iodine-131 in a single bed of kelp off Southern California. Amount most likely a lot higher. Hot particles found at 2 to 3 U.S. monitoring stations. Remember the Japanese sent fire balloons. The jet streams are real. And that these fire balloons were found in Washington, Alaska, Oregon, California, Arizona, Idaho, Montana, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, Texas, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Michigan, Iowa, Mexico, and, oh, I don't know, Canada. Like green starlight, highly contaminated marine snow covered the seafloor, at least 2,000 kilometers from Fukushima. Yeah, but what happened was that 220,000 million atoms per liter of just iodine-129 only we're talking about. Only. We're not talking about the other 2,000 radioactive isotopes. And because my video got taken down by a copyright troll from British Columbia, thanks for the nuclear PR firms, this person never watched the video. They just tried to extort me for money. And when I tried to explain to them how this actually works, they went and filed a copyright claim. And so we had to pull the video down. And so let's just for a second come back and talk about what a British Columbia judge said to me on the 10th of this month, February, in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And
Dana, let me tell him.
What was it the judge said?
Dana, let me tell him. Dana,
hang on a second.
Dana,
oh yeah,
let me tell him, please.
I forgot.
Please, Dana, let me tell him.
And little Dana wants to tell us.
Let me tell him.
Okay, fine. Go ahead and tell him, little Dana.
Judge said that Dana can use bananas, potato chips, and walking in the sunshine versus man-made radiation because the science is already settled. It's already settled, Dana.
And so the judge in British Columbia, after doing that, also said that I wasn't allowed to have expert witnesses, and then asked the prosecutor in the British Columbia courtroom why I was there. So the judge said you can't use bananas, potato chips, and walking in sunshine and say that the people who say that are lawyers or manipulators or mass murderers. You can't use it because it's like dirty bombs, according to her. This creepy, disgusting traitor to the human species. This bizarre, mentally incompetent, retarded. Well, I'm not going to say that really, but the prosecutor got her to do that in British Columbia, Canada. Now, 200 million, 220 million, but say 200 million, sorry, atomic decays every second, 1,440 minutes a day, times 60, times 15 million years, times 10 of just iodine-129. That's murder. That's murder to hide that from everybody. Ottawa is now guilty of what? Fear-mongering? Ottawa is guilty of what? Telling the truth? It's okay for Ottawa to say something like it, but it's not okay for me to say it? It's not okay for me to say it even though I supply the documentation of all of this all the time? That we are the #1 supplier of documentation and information and pictures and graphs and peer-reviewed studies? When you think about pre-Fukushima, let me see what we got for you today. Tritium activity, you can see like 0.5 becquerels a liter. This is pre-Fukushima studies, and the list is very long. We're just going to boot through some of this and I'll explain to you what I'm talking about. Is that pre-Fukushima studies of tritium-3H throughout the world were done. I got them here right for you now. Natural tritium, even, and man-made tritium was at best around 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 becquerels per liter or cubic meter or whatever the case may be. It was insignificant. It was harmless. Harmless. And now tritium is everywhere. It's unbelievable how much is in our drinking water. here in Canada. The drinking water standards for Canada. Hang on. I screwed past it. We got it right quick for you. So here's the drinking water. Look at the tritium on your right-hand side. It's artificial. It's 3H. It's man-made. 7,000 becquerels a litre. Is now a standard in the Canadian drinking water. That's your drinking water standards for Canada. But look at the natural radionuclides. Uranium is not even in becquerels, it's in milliliters, because it's not dangerous yet. It hasn't gone and got refined and went through a chain reaction. Same thing with the lead. It's 0.2 becquerels a litre. Radium, 0.5 becquerels a litre. But this is gone before it gets to your lips. Tritium, it's there for 120 years. Per litre, 7,000. That's 7 million in a cubic meter. But when you look at West Coast hit with 220 million atoms per litre. So every second, 60 seconds in a minute, 1,440 minutes in a day, that's decay, that's energy, that's pure energy being released into the environment. And we're not allowed to have a conversation about it. We're not allowed to talk about that. We're not allowed to bring that into context. I'm not even allowed to use it in my court case because our justice system is mentally ill. This is because of the University of Victoria in British Columbia, Canada. These are murderers. These are murderers. By the way, it's okay for anybody else to swear, but I'm a potty note if I swear. It's okay for anybody to come out and get upset, but I'm a crazy man if I get upset. It's okay for anybody to come out and talk about it, but I'm a bad person if I talk about it, according to everybody out there, including, particularly like E&E News has been taken over. It's been taken over. The comment section has been taken over by the Ian Goddards and the UVics and the Woods Hole and all the crazies, the James Conkras and everybody else, the mad, mentally ill, retarded pieces of shit that claim they're media, that claim that they have your interest at heart, that claims they're telling you the truth. These are fucking monsters. These are monsters. Historical crisis? We're facing a disaster never seen before. Extinction threat for the salmon? Like, we got no ice, which is 1,000 to 5,000 year old ice pack in the mountains of British Columbia and Alaska. It's all gone. It's gone. No one's even mentioned it. No one's talking about it. But that regulates your rivers, your estuaries, your streams, and your coastlines. And that the salmon can't get upriver without that extra water coming down. And that also regulates all the trout. It regulates all the insects along that shoreline. It regulates the biodiversity there. It's the very ecosystem itself. All that ice, it'll take 1,000 years for the ice to come back. And no one's talked about it. No one's mentioned it. I'm the demon for bringing it up. I'm the very devil for bringing that up. I'm evil for even talking about this. And that the University of Victoria in British Columbia, Canada, has coerced our justice system to come out and lie and manipulate and deceive everybody to keep the lie alive for just a little tiny bit longer. And that no one's allowed to hold them accountable. No one's allowed to criticize them. That I've been vilified constantly, endlessly, like a perpetual mass murder machine. Because we are the #1 providers of the documentation. That we went out and we done this whole coastline. We've done the entire coastline of Canada. I don't know how this is going to play out, but... So think about this headline. As sea stars die, no worries about the urchins. They looked at 4 spots along 200 miles of the coastline, and the 5th spot off Bajac, California. And this is Smithsonian and National Geographic. So they called it an extinction event because of 200 miles. We done the entire coast of Canada, from one end to the very other end, for 260 days. The arrows are representations of the spots that we covered, extended periods, where we went in this crowd-funded operation throughout the whole coastline. Little Zodiac is missing from that picture in the little 8 horsepower. But we done the entire coastline. Instead of looking like that, it's naked. These are from Louise Narles and the Queen Charlotte, Haida Gwaii, where they just found They just found a porpoise up there from warm tropical areas, dead, up in Hawaii this morning. But instead of looking like this in every millimeter of the coastline of British Columbia, these pictures are emblematic of the entire coast of British Columbia, no matter where you go. It doesn't matter, but these are from the same spot, in particular, from Louise Narrows. And it's just an example I use regularly. This is one of the most prestigious spots on the planet. People come from all over the world. It's isolated. There's no industry. It's way off the coast of Canada and a whole bunch of islands. And we spent a month and a half out there doing this whole coastline. So instead of being rich and diverse and wonderful, it's naked and empty and plain, and nothing can survive there. There is no life like this here. It's naked. That whole shoreline, that whole coastline is down to a handful of species. This is pre-Fukushima. This is post-Fukushima. This is not a game. This is an emergency. This is vital that you understand that this has really truly just happened to us. It will never come back. We will never see this again. This is gone permanently. It's gone in less than 5 years because of Japan. The ocean currents come straight across to British Columbia. So pre-Fukushima, post-Fukushima. Post-Fukushima, you will starve to death. You will starve to death if you go there and try to eat. There is nothing there to eat. Instead of being just wonderful and amazing, it's naked. It's history. And that, you can imagine how gorgeous, look at that. Spectacular. Now you will starve to death. You will starve to death. Now these Clintons, they're all gone. They've been gone since the very first expedition. I found 2 adults throughout the whole coastline. There's none out there to test. The 5,600 indigenous population is all gone. Look at that. See, that's pre-Fukushima, post-Fukushima. Pre-Fukushima. Think about that picture. Look, you can feed an entire community right there. Now you will starve to death. They will all starve to death. There is nothing left there. Instead of being just incredible, you would get these giant plume sea anemones. You would get 500 per square meter throughout anywhere on the coastline. Now nothing. You would get 75 of these per square meter. Now there is nothing there. It is naked. These are all from the same spot. Instead of being just an amazing, unbelievable, unforgettable, wonderful experience, it is horrendous. It is unimaginable. It is completely naked. There is no reason to go there again. There is nothing to be seen. Right? It's all gone. And even that bird never landed. There's nothing there for that bird to eat. That's one of the beaches there that I landed on. That's the little Zodiac. And we were hitting 5 or 6 islands every day. I took 2,000 to 3,000 pictures of this spot. It's all naked. Like that there. It's all gone. Like that there. These are my pictures right here. From the Expedition for Life. It's all gone. Permanently. It will never look like that again. It will never be wonderful. There will be no need to go there. There is nothing to see. And that you will be harmed by going there. And the evidence is in the drinking water standards throughout Canada. And that, let's come back. The historical crisis is never going to stop. It's a done deal. It's a done deal, and we got to hold this system accountable. We got to raise our voices. We got to demand a moral, ethical way forward. We got to demand that the world works to stop those reactors in Japan. We have to demand that. Hi everybody. Amters, Whiz Kiddin. Alex and Candace. Elaine, CJ. Thank you, CJ. Joseph. Pam. Let me see if I missed anybody. Douglas. 3 a.m. in Scotland. I might look better to you, but I got 10 days in bed and I'm hurting. My legs are shot here from lying on my legs so much. And that I can barely do what I'm doing, but it's necessary that somebody comes out and does this, and who else is going to do it? Right? Who the hell else is going to come out and tell that story if I don't do it, if I don't find a way to do it, if I don't man up and just go ahead and do it and tell the story? Thanks, Pam. But that's the point, right? That somebody has to come out and take a responsibility. Well, what ultimately we should have done for British Columbia and America is that all the communities on the coastline need to be evacuated. Ultimately, that's what we'll do. And that the banks will all have to forgive all the loans so people can go somewhere else and start again. And that the Cheshire River, they evacuated 7,500 communities permanently back in the 50s. And that because that is the way forward, is that all the communities, all the homes, all the loans, and the people that own their property are going to lose everything. But what's more important, your life, your children's life, your friends' lives, your life, or the equity you have tied up in your property? Because if you think staying here because you have equity in your property and you're too pig-headed to walk away from it, nobody can help you. Nobody can do anything for you. And the people that are keeping you here, like the judge at Victoria Courthouse on the 10th of February 2016, who made a ruling that we can't even have a debate. This is a murder. These people are murderers. The people that are attacking me all the time, these are murderers. These are 100% murderers. The president of the University of Victoria in British Columbia, Canada, is a murderer. He's a mass murderer. Constable Steve Crooks from the Sandys Police Department, he's a mass murderer. He's a mass murdering, he's a psychopath. He's a socio. He's absolutely a mass murderer in every sense of that word. Same as the staff at the University of Victoria in British Columbia, Canada. These are murderers. It's the same as the Globe and Mail, who come out and says there's no radiation in the fish a couple of days ago. These are murderers. That's murder. That's murder. That's murder. They need to be held accountable. They should be strung up in the street for saying that. We've got to change the law so we can do that. Don't forget to chop that part out. Come out and demonize me some more. But these people are murderers. The evidence is right there. There's the evidence. 220 million atoms per liter just of iodine. 129. Not counting the other 2,000 that we know about and the 10,000 that are classified. You got to think about how radiation, how they tell you, oh, radiation is everywhere. It's in the sun. It's everywhere you go. No, it's not. That's emitters. They don't mutate fruit flies. Their lifespan is 1/10,000th of a second. You can't get it. You can't ingest it. The stuff that comes from a chain reaction is created through the chain reaction. It's not like the natural stuff. They tell you it is, but it's not. It's 100% man-made. There's nothing on the planet acclimated to it. Everything. That's why we have nuclear waste sites or holding sites. That's why we have terrorist laws. That's why we have repositories where we're trying to hang on to this stuff, because it's dirty bombs. The stuff from nature is not a dirty bomb. The stuff that we talk about is made in a chain reaction. They named it, they claim, oh no, it's like the natural iodine, or no, it's like cesium. Oh, it's just cesium. It's man-made. It's a dirty bomb. That's why we have terrorist laws. That's why I do the things I do. That's why everybody's here tonight. That's why we have these conversations, so people can learn of how big the lie really is and what they're doing to you, that is not tenable, that we can't keep going down the path, and that we got to do the moral and ethical thing at some point. And that the people that are lying to you are murdering everybody, their friends, their families, their loved ones, everybody they work with, everybody in the community. and that they knew these plumes were coming through British Columbia, and they didn't even tell people to shelter in place. That's why we hired them. That's why we gave them the monetary. That's why we gave them the authority. That's why we gave them all the equipment. And when it came through, when we finally had an event, they said nothing happened. These are fucking murderers. These are murderers. These are mass murderers. These are people you got to hold accountable. These are people you got to call up and call them and tell them they're a mass murderer. That you know they're a murderer. You show them, you quote the information I'm showing you right now. I'm going to choke out here in a second. Let me get back on track. Let me shake this for a second. And let's come over and talk about some more of these headlines. Like Green Star Light. For 2,000 kilometers from Fukushima by July 2011. Well, the accident happened when? The accident happened March 11th. We're coming up to that anniversary. Let me see if I can get this straight coming up here. So, the 10th anniversary, or the 5th anniversary of mass murder is approaching us in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. And that they're going to come out and lie to you. They're going to come out and manipulate you or your friends or your family so you can't have a conversation. So that they can get away with this for just a little bit longer. They can't get away with it for much longer. The Pacific Ocean is dead. We went out and done that documentation. I just showed that to you earlier. The 4 million other species didn't recede the coastline. The 5,600 indigenous population are gone. The 6,500 invertebrates without the backbone are gone. That the 200,000 birds that came to this coastline and died a couple of weeks ago, they would have normally ate the vegetation on the shoreline because the anchovies, the squid, the phytoplankton, the krill, the sardines, the herring, the salmon are all gone. They're gone. They're permanently gone until the end of time. And that Chernobyl was a candlestick compared to Fukushima. Chernobyl is insignificant compared to Fukushima, to any of the reactors at Fukushima. Chernobyl is 1/3 the size of any of the reactors. Japan has 4 full meltdowns. We have killed the Pacific Ocean. This is something we can't change. This is something we can't fix. This is something that we need to try to rectify by getting out of the way. This is something we need to try by stopping the reactors in Japan. That we should take all of Harvard, all of Yale, all of Stanford, all of MIT, all of Oxford. Certainly everybody at Woods Hole should be sacrificed immediately. Everybody at the University of Victoria should be sacrificed. They should be put down, sent there to die, never to be allowed to leave. Because that's what they done to you. They murdered you. They should be arrested, put in a chain gang, and brought down there and dropped out of a fucking helicopter. We don't even care if they hit the ground and survive. We don't care about these people. These are traitors to every species on this planet, but particularly the human species. That these institutions, it was their watch, it's their responsibility. And that they hid it away so they wouldn't have that responsibility. They hid it away so you wouldn't demand they do something. They should be sacrificed like the animals they have sacrificed in the experiments with radiation. These are mass murderers. This is what they do for a living. They don't care about you. They don't. The University of Victoria in British Columbia doesn't care about you. It don't care about themselves. It don't care about the students. It don't care about the community. It don't care about the province. It don't care about the animals or the mammals or the insects or the faunas or the floras or the birds or the whales or the porpoise. They don't care. They really don't care. But they would love to kill me. They're working very hard to kill me. They're working so hard you can't even imagine that they corrupted our justice system. And now a judge says a banana and a potato chip and walking in sunshine is equal to dirty bombs. So that we can't have a conversation. And just like the Daily Star from UK trying to get me to talk to them, you know, friggin' well, they're just going to manipulate that 7 Ways to Sunday to come out and try to wreck us even more. You're still going to do it anyway. It's because they're evil people. It's because they have no conscience. They have zero morals. They have no moral compass whatsoever. They do not care about anything, only what they can get away with for another day. They will admit nothing. You have to demand it. You have to be so loud and so in their faces. You have to call them up all the time and scream at them that they're mass murderers. But use the data. You don't have to scream, but use the data. Use the information. Engage with them. Continuously engage with them. Make sure they can't hide away from it. Everybody should contact the Victoria, British Columbia courthouse in Victoria, British Columbia, and Vancouver Island, the capital of British Columbia, and tell them that a banana is not a dirty bomb, that a potato chip is good for you, that walking in the sunshine is normal, that none of this has anything to do with man-made radiation, and you disrespect them for allowing that judge to be able to say that and to turn that into a ruling. It's the biggest betrayal in our history. Oh, that shit is gross. If I don't do it, I won't be able to finish talking. Let's run through some more headlines here. Let me bring that over. Radioactive iodine in Pennsylvania rainwater. You got to multiply that by 31 to get iodine 129. 76 trillion becquerels plutonium released from Fukushima, 23,000 times higher. So a lot of these headlines are conflicting because they're older headlines. But you can see the lie was 23,000 times. Now it's everywhere. Now plutonium is everywhere. Now they admit that it's absolutely everywhere throughout the country. Political instability. Uranium-234 was detected in Hawaii, Southern California, and Seattle on April the 9th. This came out. That the iodine in rainwater near San Francisco was 18,000% above federal drinking water standards, which is murder anyway. Vancouver, Canada radiation tests showed iodine in rainwater at 100 times above drinking water limits. Think about Fukushima. You had 4 meltdowns. It's hemorrhaging into the Pacific Ocean, but you can't see it. Just because you can't see it, does that mean it's not there? Does that mean it never happened? Does that mean it's not an issue? These are just some of the models. Hang on. Sometimes I don't know who the hell I am. There's your drinking water. Now, we just raised it to the limit, to the ceiling. Think about, this is the interior, what they claim of this building here. The destroyed Unit 4 reactor, they claim it's like that on the inside. Why ain't you outraged? Why don't you get in their faces? Why don't you call them out? Why don't you get upset? Why don't you people support people out there that are telling you the truth? This is Unit 4. Do you think that that thing there is inside of that? But because these are the official pictures. That's the official picture. That's the official picture of the same building on the inside. Look at the roof. Look at the wall. Look at the fuel pool. Look at the original building. Look at it. Look at it. They tore it all down. You can't have anything inside of that. It can't possibly look like that. But that is what they told you. That is how vicious these thugs are. That's how many laws they shove down your throat. Here's Canada. Evidence of sharp features in the Fukushima plume over southwestern British Columbia. Evidence of the Fukushima plume. This is Health Canada flew along the coastline for 18 hours. They took samples every 15 minutes. And here's the samples along Vancouver Island. They found an invisible snowstorm that was coming in to murder everybody. And what did they do? They hid it away from everybody. They didn't even tell the children to shelter in the place. We paid them to go out and do it. We gave them the money for the airplanes. We gave them the authority. We gave them the education. We gave them the equipment. What did they do when it came through? They fucking hid it from us. Here's Francis modeling. This is only based upon a couple of days releases from a single reactor. Look, it just updated our entire continent in just a couple of days. The modeling doesn't stop there because the graph did. It just continues to come out of there. It never stopped coming out of there. This is NOAA's model. That's NOAA's model, based upon just a couple of days releases from a single reactor. Just from a couple of days releases from a single reactor. Think about how big the law is that they told you. That this doesn't include, that doesn't include the West Coast getting hit with 220 million per liter. West Coast hit with 220 million atoms per liter of iodine. Think about how big that, how massive this is. Think about how absolutely frightening this actually truly is. And think about what they've done to hide it. How they had me arrested. How they vilified me in the media and accused me of death threats. And how people are still posting those stories, particularly the one from the Japanese Times at the E&E News with no context. Like, it's shocking. It's utter betrayal. The cowards cannot be. Here's another model. Based upon, wait for it. This is just a couple of days releases from a single reactor. This is not anything to do with the meltdowns. This is not anything to do with anything, just a couple of days releases from a venting. Think about this model here. This is the Norwegian Institute for Air Research, I think. Right? Think about all these lies that they told you and how they manipulated you and tricked you and deceived you. And for what? And for what? So here's a clip coming up. I better raise the volume on that one a little bit. And so it might be a bit weird.
If a problem later occurs, they can say, well, the people on site, the workers made their own arbitrary decision to do this. It's not our fault. Another example, immediately after the first hydrogen explosion, TEPCO gave out an order a request to all of these labor dispatching companies, and they said, send us people who don't mind dying. At that time, it was really very much a panic situation, perhaps, but normally when you enter any area where there might be possible radiation exposure, you're always supposed to be issued a special kind of booklet.
Right. Send us people who don't mind dying. Send us people who don't mind dying. How bizarre is that one, right? Fukushima had a 9.0 earthquake, and this earthquake ran through the country at 9,000 miles per hour. 9,000 miles per hour. It was felt in Florida. Half an hour later, and that tsunami came through. Now, that earthquake, it shook the country for 6 minutes. It was 1 to 3 G forces. At 1 G, you cannot stay on your feet. It was 1,000 times worse than Haiti. It was 7,000 times worse earthquake than Christchurch, New Zealand. The tsunami inundated the entire country. 400 kilometers of the country was wiped out. Power plants lost their inventory. They caught fire, blew up, detonated, melted down. This is Unit 1. It was 100% meltdown, melt through, melt out. This is thousands of Chernobyls right there. This is Unit 2. This is 100% meltdown, melt through, melt out. Look at the picture, Unit 3. Look at that. Look at it. And they claim that's not as bad as the other two. But they don't show you the picture like I'm doing, right? This is Unit 4. They come out and told you that it looked gorgeous, wonderful. That's official pictures. Then why do you have that truck there if it looks like that on the inside? Why would you put that building there if it looked like that on the inside? Why did you tear everything off the building if it could look like that on the inside? Why is there an issue if it looks like that on the inside? Because it looks like that, and you tore it all apart, and it all melted down, and that the whole country, you can't get power in when 400 kilometers of the country looks like that. And that, let me bring up some other stuff for everybody. Who knows what I got done there? Hang on. Japan, 15 reactors in the areas affected by the quake. Remember that debris I just showed you? These 15 reactors were in that area. 15. 14 at 4 sites were affected. These are just different headlines. 10 reactors got to dismantle. Governor strongly demands TEPCO decommission and dismantle all 10 reactors. Why did he demand that, I wonder? Because you don't know the whole story, see? 14 total. Hang on. I probably can't find the rest anyway. I don't remember where it's to. Okay, let's keep going anyway. One more try. Might be there. Usually pretty good. Hang on. Just gotta import everything here at some point. Think about this. These, see the numbers? That's people who died along the coastline. They didn't die from fright, though I'm sure some of them probably did. They died from being caught in the tsunami debris. As you go along the whole coastline, look, people died through that whole coastline. You know why? Because the coastline looked like that. So you couldn't get power in there, right? You couldn't get the power in there. And that it wasn't just 400 kilometers of the coastline. When you look at the tsunami, it killed a couple of 100,000 birds in Alaska within several hours that were nesting close to the high tide line. But the tsunami inundated the whole coastline in Japan. The entire coast, all these lines, like the red is 3 meters or more. But you can see how the tsunami inundated the whole coastline. And that's why there's 15 nuclear power plants that melted down. That's why they don't talk about any of these power plants. That's why the ones they're starting up are on where the yellow is to, not where the red. Because everything in the red melted down. Because it couldn't get power. Once you don't get power, after 90 minutes, like every minute the water drops an inch. Every minute. And how are you going to get power into the coast when it looks like that? When you got hundreds of thousands of people screaming and crying and lost in the dark and the snow and the cold, struggling to survive another day. You got around 11 hours to get power to those power plants or they melt. That's the end of it. Game over. At 5%, it's declared a meltdown. At 5%. So then, what the hell is that? Right? What the hell is that? It's Unit 3. Remember, they tore everything off Unit 4 because it's all gone. And then they made up the lie, right? And then anybody like myself would come out and try to tell you the difference, tell you that, hey, wait a second, that don't fit into that building. What do? They get you arrested. Then they vilify you and demonize you in the media. I'm not the bad guy. And I'm not going to turn my back on the people of this planet just because the system is vicious thugs. Vicious, vicious, heartless, soulless thugs. They're not like me or you. They don't covet life. They worship death. They hid this from you. I have 25,000 supporting documentations because it's a relentless pursuit of the truth is what we've done. And that we have the truth on our side. And that everything I'm showing you is vetted and verified. And that nobody else will show that to you. And that I'm the only person on this planet that will bring you this kind of information regularly. And that I've been really sick for the last couple of weeks, and we don't think it's an accident. Right after the judge says we can't have a motive and we can't have a defense. And that bananas are now terrorist weapons. And that I'm tortured in a bed. And that I'm not going away. I'm not giving it up. Under any circumstances. But I'm so sick I can't do anything. And so tonight is a win for me that I got to stream in. It's a long time, 10 days, trying to get out of bed for a couple hours so I can do this. I'll crawl back in my bed here in a few minutes. And hopefully I can do it again in a day or two. More and more and more, and build up my strength and my tolerance. That I never got anything accomplished in 10 days. I slept all day, every day. All night, every night, for 10 days now. I'm worn out. That I made it through the stream, so I'm happy. I got no issues. Well, say goodnight to everybody. Thank you, Mindy. Elaine, thank you, honey. Alex, Paul. CJ, Candace, good night, everybody. Thirst, I'm going to miss a few people, I'm sure. Sylvia, Oomph, Whiz Kitten, and I hope everybody's doing fine. Pam, Paul, and everybody. Nicholas. My breathing's a bit better. I choke out all day long though. I'll choke out all night long. I'll puke up phlegm and everything else. I'll puke up nothing. I'll try to puke for fucking 20 minutes straight. That I don't have the energy and that my legs are shot. Completely shot. And there is nothing more important than what we are trying to do and accomplish. And what we talk about is the difference between survival for people and they don't even realize it. That media can come out and demonize me and there's no one to hold them accountable. That E&E News will come out and demonize me in the comments section and there's no one there to hold them accountable. That the Japanese Times says I'm charged with death threats. Nobody bothered to say Dana's not charged with death threats. Dana's charged with criminal harassment. And that why are you putting those headlines there without any explanation? So you can demonize me. Vilifying me. And accuse me of having a potty mouth. It's none of your fucking business if I got a potty mouth or not. Who the fuck are you to judge me? Who the fuck is anybody to judge me? Judge me by the pictures. Judge me by the actions. Judge me by the 260 days on the ocean. Judge me by the documentation at the nuclear proctologist. But no, don't mention none of that. Just say, Dana got a potty mouth. Dana swears. So what? I don't see how it concerns you that is the focal point. I'm a normal person, just a Canadian. If I want to swear, I'll swear. It's my site. I'll swear all I want. If you don't like it, you can fuck off. You don't have to come back. I don't care about you. Go away. Go fuck off somewhere else. Go find somebody who fits your little paradigm. I'm not here to fit your paradigm. I'm here to do battle against evil. I'm just saying to the people that uses that to bludgeon me and to assault me and attack me and to vilify me and to marginalize me. What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you want the truth or not? Do you think Canadians care that I swear? Have you ever been to Canada? Everybody fucking swears all the fucking time. Well, Dana, you're in a video. It's different. No, it's not. It's my video. Do what I want. I'm not being an asshole. I'm not being crazy, stupid. I'm just Dana. I'm just a normal Canadian. And I'm not going to talk a certain way to make somebody happy. You can donate at the nuclear proctologist with credit cards. You can donate at PayPal. Type in Dana Durnford at hotmail.com. And if I raise enough money, I'll buy the equipment, extra equipment that will take us further and accomplish more. If not, just keep doing what I'm doing. As it stands right now, you know, money's trickling in, and so I'm able to afford to go out and get the things I want to make me feel better, and that, you know, I'm happy with what I already raised. I'm not, like, when it comes to that, I got enough, in my opinion, to take care of what I was afraid I couldn't take care of. But if I was to raise money, I'll buy more equipment. I'll buy better equipment. I'll buy the material, the lights, the extra cameras, the equipment that's needed so I can do the things I want to do. It's all business with me. Unfortunately, my health is not there, and so we raise money so I can take care of myself, so I can afford to go out and buy the things I think will make a difference in my life. And I do, and I did. But, 10 days in a hospital bed. I live in a hospital bed for 15 years, and I friggin' hate it with a passion. But that is the cards that have been dealt, and that I'll make the best of it that I can. Good night, everybody. Hugs, everybody. It's never a boring show with me anyway, because I don't beat around the bush. And I'm honest as the day is long, and that I never done nothing wrong. I never done anything bad. I'm not a bad person. I'm not doing this for something to do. I'm doing this because there is nobody else on this planet doing it. We're it. I'm not the best, I know, I get that. But I'm what you got. And that I do a good job. I do an incredible good job. I have an incredible amount of documentation. It's just as I get my health back, it'll get better. And that for the 2000, or for the 5th anniversary coming up, no matter how sick I am, we're going to go all day, 24 hours. On March 11, 2016 is a 24-hour show. And I'll put off a good show no matter how sick I am that day. A real show. And we'll tell that story all day long. And anybody out there that's looking will find us, and we'll have that opportunity. And if we can help one more person, it was worth it. And that's the way I see it. Good night, everybody. Hugs for everybody. Thank you for your patience and your kindness and your understanding and support that you have shown me is very humbling. It's something I'll treasure forever. And we'll see everybody when I can. Good night, everybody. Take care.